She just wanna work and pay her bills. Fuck up on a man who keep it real. That's right. She just want her girls to know the deal. They do. She just told her boss just how she feel. Fuck you. She just hit the club up on a Thursday. Told the bartender I ain't feeling thirsty. Took a couple shots just like it's her birthday. Hit the tree up just like it was Earth Day.
Saw her at a club in a Lambo. She don't eat no pork, she gon' have no. Got these niggas shooting shots, call them Rambo. Wanna let them know it's not a man's world. They try to tap it and they black, call them Sambo. They try to tap it and they white, call them CIA. She know the truth about the game, and she don't play. She know the truth about the fame, so she okay. You like blah blah blah, she like
dollar signs.
You like rent this here, she like
I'm buying mine.
She got her besties back when it is trying times. She used to boost the pack when it was flying time. All around the world, see those pretty girls. Yeah, lights, camera, action. She ain't even acting.
This is We Don't Sip Tea, We Drink Wine. I'm your girl, Miss JLH, and these are my guests. We have Van here from the Scenario Radio Show, and then we have Dominic from Southern Studio. Welcome, welcome. If y'all want to quickly introduce yourselves again, let the people know who you are, what you're about, even though I gave a little bit, give them a little bit more.
It's me once again, Van Everett from the Scenario Radio Show, Real Talk with a Playlist. As I was just saying, we're actually on hiatus for the summer. We come back in the fall for our 7th season. But in the meantime, people can check us out at www.thescenarioradioshow.com.
And here I am, Dominic with Southern Studio. I do everything from photography, videography. Coming out with a couple of series here soon. So just follow me on TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. Just follow me at Southern Studio.
Yes, thank y'all. And welcome back to the review episode of Atlanta Season 3, Episode 3. This was actually one of my favorite episodes too. I really liked it. It's called The Old Man in the Tree. And then their description for this one was cool, going to rich parties and meeting weirdos, but season 1 was better. So y'all, the gang is back together this episode, okay? But we are not in Atlanta. We're definitely in Europe, and it's looking a little sketchy. They head to this party, and when they get there, it doesn't look like it's a party for rich people or where a rapper who's making it big in Europe should be. So they're like super confused, and then they go upstairs, and it's a whole rich party, and things just start to go downhill from there. What was y'all like standout moment from this episode?
Oh, standout moments. That's a tough one for me on that because the way it's broken up into primarily, all three of the guys, they're having their own experiences. They're kind of intertwined, and then Van's having you're beginning to get a little glimpses into Van's thing.
Right.
It's hard to, I guess, if I have to choose one, I guess I'll choose Darius's experience with the liberal white people and their response to racism, because of a conversation that happens in there. But I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I say Darius's experience was the one that really kind of sealed the whole thing for me.
Yes, Dominic, what was yours?
Honestly, it's probably like a little. I would have to probably say Paperboy's interaction with the billionaire.
Yes.
I would say it's a toss up between that and then Darius' moment with the like white liberals they had, also just with socks and my man's wild hairline.
I would definitely say that my favorite was Ern's interaction. I think it's funny that we all have like different fades from the episode and they're all intertwined. But mine was definitely Ern's interaction with little TJ. So let's start off with them first going to the party. Okay, like they go in, it looks like it's definitely a cover house, like you going into some like crack house or something, and you're like, what is this? And then they go upstairs and it's like decked out, really nice, a bunch of rich white people there. It's like, what was y'all thoughts? Like, did y'all think they was going into a trap?
Me personally, no, just because like the speakeasy type like vibe of those places has been like I've seen them so many different times in different places. So it was like one of those like it was like it was like a little I knew it was gonna be like something there was something behind that. I'm like, all right, where's like the huge like underground mansion with just like wild and crazy things in there, and you get past it, you see the dude had a whole restaurant up in there in a very
Right.
old tree.
Y'all
Yeah,
named after himself.
Oh, for
yeah,
real.
yeah. I didn't really approach it with any expectations because Atlanta ventures so far into the absurd so many times. I just assumed that I don't know what to expect. So I just, I knew it was weird that it didn't fit the description at first, but I was like, well, let's see where this goes.
Yeah, I was. What was so funny? The thing that I saw in this episode that really stood out to me, when they walk in, then they see the restaurant and they go there, and Paperboy and Darius they order the wings, right? And then the waitress, she just out of nowhere says they're free, and Paperboy like, I know they free. I'm not paying for something in somebody's house. Like, I just thought it was comedically really funny because black people always asking, "Is it free when we go somewhere? Like, can we really eat this?"
Yeah, what's the
So for
catch?
like, yeah, like so for Paperboy to like be like, "Don't do me," like it was like a kind of like he's arrived moment. Like he ain't gotta pay for nothing anymore, type of thing.
Yeah.
What was y'all how did y'all feel about the interaction between Paperboy and Fernando?
They they were as I mentioned last time we talked about these shows, that for me what I recognized was this recurring theme, and the theme is essentially about white supremacy and the relationship with blackness and whiteness, and it just keeps asking this question, um who, what is the cost, and who pays, how much,
Mm-hmm.
how much it costs and who pays. And so all three of those interactions were kind of speaking to that in this episode. And so to hear Fernando's story that he's telling when they're playing poker, when Paperboy's playing poker with him and the other supposed billionaires, I guess. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time when I'm first watching it, I'm like, I'm still not picking up. I know that there's something there. The story, if it has its, feel, is a metaphor to it, so to speak. But I don't really make the connection at that point. I just know that it's really weird, you know.
Mm.
And like I
Mm-hmm.
was like I always say, when you're watching in Atlanta and they have these moments where there's this dialogue going on, and it's kind of, they set the camera on Paperboy and the guy is talking, and it's slowly zooming in on him. So then you need to be listening for this, because there's something
Mm-hmm.
here. There's a story, but there's more to the story than what's being said. So I thought it was just really interesting, and it didn't all really shape out for me until the entirety of the episode, after I watched it and thought about it. But yeah, I thought the interaction was really interesting. One of the most interesting thing about the interaction was Paperboy and his experience of throwing all of his money on the table, attempting to
Mm-hmm.
buy his way in, not just into the game, but just into this space where powerful white men were, and that he
Mm.
was willing to abandon all common sense to do it. And I thought that was really
Mm.
interesting.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
like your perspective. I'm sorry, Dominic, real quick. I
yeah.
really do like what you be saying, man, because you be seeing it from a whole different perspective that I don't really be seeing it from. And that's crazy. I feel like I be seeing it the way Dominic be seeing it sometimes. And then mine just be a little bit different tweak. But yours be definitely different. But go ahead, Dominic.
But now the whole like with the poker game with him and Fennell's interaction, he definitely was like it's definitely a scene of him like trying to show out to be like, oh no, I got money. I don't have. He's trying to just like impress all like white people
Yeah.
in there to be like, no, I still got money. Like I'm not like these other people who don't have no money. What you mean? And
Yeah.
he was trying to show out, and then they straight robbed him without him even knowing.
So it's funny that you felt like, okay, because I thought we was going to agree today, Dominic. But you felt like he was showing out. I actually felt like it was more of him feeling like he had arrived. So that's so crazy that y'all thought that. Like,
Yeah,
and
I
but
think
I
I agree
agree with
with
your
you.
perspective.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he thought he had arrived, but I think that he thought part of arriving was putting amounts of money that would affect him to lose, but wouldn't phase them at
Mm.
all. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
just being in the room with wealth, if you don't know how wealth works and the way that they work, then you're going to think there are things you have to do in order to be like them. And so he just casually dumped money on the table that he knew he did not want to lose.
Word.
So, but yeah,
And
I thought he
they
thought
have
that was
like this.
arriving.
That's true. And they say that the dollar in the black community only lasts for what, like 10 seconds, a minute or something like that, 15 seconds. It's like very little. It's like a very small number of how long the black dollar lasts
Mm-hmm.
within our community. It's like that's how fast we spend money as soon as we get it. So I think that is a really interesting synopsis that you have of that whole situation. I didn't understand the story either. I didn't get that at all. My idea from the whole situation with the poker table and then him telling the story to me was that, okay, so in Atlanta, Paperboy was just coming up. He was new, and people knew who he was or whatever. So you had to be careful because it's like you had your friends, then you had people who was checking for you who wasn't really your friends, who was faking it or whatever. And remember how it was robbing season, how he got robbed by his weed man or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, that was somebody that you knew who did you dirty. Now you with rich people sitting at their table, chilling with them, and they white, and you thinking everything's all good. He telling you a story, making it seem like you cool, y'all buddy friends, smoking, drinking. Now he done robbed you. You wasn't expecting that, was you? Like it's just crazy because it's like, we put our blinders down and we put them down around certain people thinking they're not going to do us dirty whole time they could too. And that's what I got from that.
Yeah, I think for instance, the story, how it plays in, if you keep in mind they're in Europe and they're among billionaires, and one of the first things that Ern mentions when they're walking to the place that they're going to go for the party is that the guy who's throwing the party, his family, he refers to it as made the first loan. And so, and it's like, he's
and I
like,
did not catch that.
yeah. So he said, I mean, and of course, it sounds absurd in its own way, but in the history of loans, what he's saying is that this family made the first loan. So it's like this idea that they have been attached to power for so long that before there
Right.
were banks or anything, they were there. And
Right.
and so what he's not just sitting at the table. So Paperboy's not just sitting at the table with billionaires. He's sitting at the table with old money. And
Yeah.
old money, again, because this comes up a little later with Darius's thing. Capitalism and white supremacy, as I mentioned before, are always inextricably linked. You can't have
Yeah.
one without the other. And
Yeah.
so at some point in the lives of those men's family, they have made money off of black bodies and black blood. So when he's telling this story about this dream or this situation that he had, and this ghost comes in, this ghost that he's talking about is the black bodies
Like,
that he's made money off of.
You did it.
So
I didn't
that's
even
the thing. That's the thing to keep in mind. That's who he's talking about. And what they're playing on is does he feel guilt or does he not? And what he's basically saying is that he doesn't feel guilt. He recognizes when he said, even when he's talking to Paperboy, he says that there's God and that there's the devil, and that how do you think all of these things keep happening? That there's war, and why is it I'm so rich and then other people aren't? But he never answers the question. The answer is that he and the people who came before him are at peace with crushing other people, with having that blood on their hands, so much so that he doesn't see this ghost who comes in his room and in his space as something to fear, but rather he is something else for him to conquer.
Wow, you better do that. What did you think, Dominic? Is that your thought too? What did you think about the dream?
I don't know. My mind's still blown by his whole explanation because now I have to think about
I know, right? Mind blown for real. I did
Nah,
not think of it like that.
neither did I, honestly. But now that I'm thinking about it, like that fits it so well.
Dead ass.
Like I have nothing to
What's
add.
just a
Like
crazy dream? He
Yeah, I
was
mean,
not.
and keep in mind, a lot of times when I'm watching this stuff, once I have thought about what the theme is, and I'll just kind of apply that theme, and then it's like, oh, it kind of makes sense. But I also recognize that I don't think that they just one to one everything means everything. I recognize some things they do, and they want you to just kind of interpret it however you see it. But that's definitely
Right.
something that sticks out when you think about what is happening at that table and in that building, in that room. Think about when Ern is in the hallway and he looks at that picture of the first loan with the big check. Of course, they wouldn't have had a big check back then. That was a kind of a funny twist for them to add that. But it's these men who've given the first loan and it's standing in the back as an enslaved person.
Right.
You know, and that's not for nothing.
Talk about Ern's experience. So Ern comes to the party with them. They all venture off. He first starts off with Van. You know, she does her own thing eventually, and he goes off with Will, the white guy who opens the door, who has his family money as well. And he starts talking to him about artists. The funniest part to me was when Will asked him, do they listen to UK rappers? And he brought up 21 Savage. I thought that shit was so funny.
yeah.
But do y'all listen to UK rappers?
I do, but I'm also from the UK, so I gotta support some of people there.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you need to put us up then. You need to put us up on
we
some
got
stuff.
our own 21 Savage on the line.
I'm gonna say after I found out 21 Savage was from the UK, he became the best UK rapper now.
He's the only one I listen to. No, I do like there's another rap group I listen to called Western. I like them a lot. But that's about it.
Yeah, I think Children of Zeus? Or Sons of Zeus. I think it might be Children of Zeus. It's a group. They have a rapper in the group out of the UK. Is one of the few that I know that I listen to regularly. And other than that, the most stuff I listen to from the UK isn't necessarily rappers. It may be bands or singing and things of that nature.
Yeah, same. I can't do the voices when they rap. It's a bit much.
It's an acquired taste. You get used to it after a while, but like,
oh, why? It's a lot. but Dominic, what was your view on the whole scene with little TJ scamming Will out of this money? Because there was no real idea. Like, this was not an idea. They was clearly stealing this man's money.
Nah. So he just saw opportunity and took it because, again, realistically, his family, how he got so much money, they loot and pillage to get that money. They have blood on their hands of how they got that money. So he's seeing it as, you know what? They got the money this way. I'm going to get my money this way. There's no harm in it.
Yeah. But we didn't recognize that until the end of it, though. So was you on board with that the whole time?
No, I thought he was just like one of those artists who trying to be an artist but like don't have no clear vision. So I'm like, you kind of just full of it until the explanation. I'm like, no way, I can respect it. Get your money. Like, if you get your money that way, you get your money, man.
But even Paperboy was having the conversation with Ern and was saying, you know, that white kids still scam all the time. Black kids need to scam more anyway. Like, did you agree with that? Was you on part? Like, was you still on part? Would you have done what Ern was doing? Because Ern seemed like he was truly concerned and like he wasn't really trying. Like, nah, I can't fuck with this. He black, but still, I can't. Would you have been on that type of time, or would you been like, whatever?
I would have to count the person how they made money because again, you saw the check and then the slave in the background, so it's just like you knew what time his family was on, so it's just like a little bit of reparations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What did you say about it, man?
yeah. The kid, I mean, like the kid said himself when he was talking to Paperboy and Earn, he said, they want to buy our culture all the time, but they
Yeah.
want to, they don't want to, they don't respect it. You have to remember, you have to always keep in mind, um, the worst R&B or hip hop artist you've ever heard was probably purchased by some white guy who didn't respect the art, and the very best R&B and hip hop artist you ever heard was bought by some white guy who didn't respect the art. So for them, it's the same. It's not as if they bought that guy's art. They were going to be putting that guy's art on display, and they elevated it to the same level as people who made better art, because to them it's all the same. It's buying blackness. To them, blackness
Yeah.
is a commodity. And
Mm-hmm.
so however they can get their hands on it and buy it and sell it and exploit it, then that's what matters to them. So it just becomes, now I'm not saying that Earn, so for me, I don't know if it's a matter of whether Earn is right or wrong. It's a matter of, can you stomach it? Again, here, the price. Now, are you willing to pay the price?
Right.
Even though Earn would be getting paid under these circumstances, and the other guys getting paid, the minute that you enter into these agreements with white supremacy and capitalism, there is a price to pay. So the question is always, what's the price, and are you willing to pay it?
Yeah.
And so, now whether or not that ever pans out, further on in the story, I don't know whether it does, but yeah, I think that's the thing.
I thought they did a really good job of showing that, okay, yes, white people can be decent people on the outside, but they have a history and a past that they have yet to identify and reconcile with,
Hmm.
and really come to terms with, and just be like, yo, yeah, my people were really messed up. This is what we did, and this is how we can be better. It's just like, to them, it's just like, oh, it happened, and it happened a long time ago. It's really not that big of a deal. Let's just live in the moment now for them. And this episode was just really good at showing that, and then showing like kind of our way of also dealing with it. It's like, they don't recognize that they fucked up and they do fucked up shit. So why don't we just do it too? Like, kind of thing. And it's like, I hate that it's like that, but it's just kind of like, kind of where we came to terms of life as Black people. It just
Mm.
sucks. And for a show to just show that, it was just like, wow, that sucks. So yeah. Um, when we see Earn catch up with Van again, she's literally pushing everyone that's white in the pool. It seems like. This episode we really see Van venture off from the group, from everybody, and just do her own thing moving forward after this. What did y'all think about this? Because this was definitely like the starting point of her going away.
Yeah, definitely. I would say the starting point for her, like, where it's like you really saw her lose it, was in the season premiere when they saw the Mercy killing. But it's like you're starting to see the
Mm.
effects of that start to leak out now, where she just pushes random people into the pool, like push push one of the servers, just trying to make a living, serving all those rich white people in there, and then the white lady that, if no one jumped in, she probably would have ended up drowning.
Herb was so concerned.
I thought it was
Like,
interesting that Earn asks her. He begins by asking her, "Are you mad at me?" Because
oh yeah.
it speaks to that, which you kind of, as it unfolds, we learn more about her story this season. It speaks to the idea that really he can't imagine the nature of what she's going through outside of his own, connection to it. Like he
Mm.
can't imagine that she would be going through anything that didn't have to do with him.
But don't you think that's like kind of us as people usually, especially when we have like close bonds with people and then they start to disappear and they kind of fall off, and it's like, are you mad at me? Is there something going on? Like, you ain't usually like this, you know? Usually the person that's supposed to have it all together, and which is her, they usually have it all together. She's not supposed to break. And I think that just really just shows that beginning of like she's gonna be breaking. She's breaking. But and then you don't even recognize it. The person that you're supposed to be close to, the person you have a kid with, you can't even see that. And that's crazy. So I just thought that was like really telling of kind of like just reality of how we see strong people and our strong friends and stuff, you know?
I think there's something to be said for that. I also think, and it's very subtle to me at least, that some of it, as we'll see in a couple of episodes, in a few more episodes, some of it has to do with the fact that it's not so much that she's a strong person, because if you really look back over the arc of her story throughout the seasons, she doesn't particularly have it together. It's just that that compared to Earn, she has it together.
Together,
And it's like,
yeah.
so she has to, because they have a daughter together, somebody has to be the adult. And she has had to be the adult. And now that she's made this choice to simply not be the adult, then it's concerning. But the truth is, her acting irresponsibly isn't much different than the way Ern had acted the first two seasons as a, as a father. And it only raises concern because I think a lot of times that we are accustomed to women being there even when they can't, even when they don't have anything left. As a mother, she's still supposed to be there. But if the father needs a break, if the father's tired, we understand as a society. So we don't even ask, well, if he hasn't seen his kid, because keep in mind, Ern's been overseas now for a while. He hasn't seen his child in a while, but nobody said, well, what about your kid?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. And is she working? We don't know if she's still working, right?
I don't think it. I think she said she lost her job in the second episode. I think she's mentioned it to Darius that she had lost her job, or she had gotten fired or quit or something of that nature.
Yeah, because I remember she got fired from being a teacher because of the smoking the weed and stuff. But I didn't know if she had got another job or nothing. I can't remember if they shared that. Okay, yeah, that's crazy. That was a good way to look at it too. All right, y'all, let's definitely talk about Darius now. Dominic, what was your favorite interaction with the whole Darius scene? Because he comes up to this Asian woman, but he's not even trying to talk to her. He's just reaching for the liquor, and she automatically assumes that he's trying to talk to her. And then she says something that honestly is pretty accurate from my perspective. She says that black men really love Asian women, but I just feel like men period tend to really like Asian women. I don't think it's just black men in particular. But do y'all agree?
About black men loving Asian women,
or just well, yeah, that part, what she said, and then what did y'all think about her react, like the whole interaction between them two? And did you feel like it was racism? Would you call that racism?
I wouldn't call them. It's not like, I wouldn't be like racism, but it's like one of those like they call like microaggressions, where it's just like it's subtle racism, where it's just like that quick shot, like, oh, you're black, so you can jump high, right? Like one's like that, where it's just like a subtle hit, where it's not like straight just like a racist joke or anything like more serious than that. It's just like one of those like, it's almost a like subconscious type thing that people don't realize right away. That's like, it's something to work on, but it's not something that's like completely like harmful as Socks and the rest of them made out to be.
It definitely wasn't what they did.
No, they went full angry mob on her so quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
part of the reason I think they went angry mob, because there's no telling what how Socks he embellished the whole thing. Also.
Oh no,
yeah.
My man was a great storyteller that night, because he added a lot to that.
I don't even remember what he said. What did he say?
He said something about all lives matter or something. He said something like that.
He's like, it was some like 12 years of slaves type thing.
Oh, you did say that. I forgot.
Well, he went above and beyond to make that girl into like a whole like almost like a racist KKK symbol right there.
Yeah, and to the question of whether or not what she said, whether it was racist or not, obviously it was a microaggression of a sort. But I think the thing about it was that it speaks to the way that we navigate racism. You know what I mean? Like white people, and I know she's not white, but she was, she was a part of a white space, and she was, operating in whiteness. She was her
she's like
fiance
white
was,
adjacent.
yeah, white
Yes.
adjacent. Her fiance was white, but white people, as you had mentioned earlier, they they have the privilege of looking at racism as a thing that's about interpersonal interaction. It's about, well, I said something mean to you, or I looked at you a certain way, or I did something to you and I called you a name. And black people, we can't afford to look at racism that way because we recognize that it's cultural and it's systemic and it's bigger than just the words that come out of people's mouths. Some of the most racist interactions we had were when we couldn't get the loan at the bank, and we knew it was racism, but nobody listened to us until a class action lawsuit came through. So it's like we can't. That's just not how we navigate racism, which is why Darius, despite hearing what she said, doesn't think anything of it because he's a fish in waters that have always been racist. So, but then Socks hears it and takes it and runs with it, and everyone else all of a sudden is so much more shocked than they should be about it because I always looked at that scene as those scenes as the liberal look at it because it gives them the power of saying, well, I'm better than that person, and let's go and do something to this woman and fix racism because they don't have to they don't fix the systems, they don't fix the culture, they just fix the person.
And it's such a temporary sadness, like with the whole George Floyd thing. It was like it even had my white friends hitting me up, like, "I'm so sorry. Are you okay, bitch? Get off my line. Like you ain't checked on me ever. Get out of here."
Yeah,
police shootings. You better go somewhere. So yeah, I felt that too. What did y'all think about uh, when Darius was having that conversation? I mean, I know you touched on it a little bit, Van, but Dominic, what was your thoughts on Darius having that conversation with like that Indian guy? I just thought it was so meticulously well placed as far as like how they had everything and just like the little interactions. Because I mean, again, you had a minority group making a microaggression to another minority group, and then you had another minority group talking to another minority group about this microaggression. It was just like, and then they realize it, this Indian guy and Darius is like, they know, they just sitting there chill while this mob of white people is attacking, again, a white adjacent woman. And really, white people really love Asian people because they be so close to adjacent of them. It's just like, we don't really have no problems with them on the outside sometimes, but it's just those
I'll
little
say some
things
of
they be
them have a
doing.
problem with them on the inside and outside.
No, yeah, they do be having a problem with them, definitely. I mean, we have the Japanese internment camps and all that other shit that be happening here. But I'm just saying, I feel like Asians and Indians are way more accepted than Black people here, and
Oh no,
obviously
definitely.
paid more. But for them to attack an Asian woman, just like rise of Asian attacks and like all that other stuff, I just thought it was just like so well put together for this episode. Like, what was your thoughts on
the conversation that he has with the Indian guy that summarizes the whole series. It's season 3. I'll put it that way. It summarizes season 3
that?
perfectly.
For sure.
I mean, he when he's because Darius, and this is one of the things that kind of came up that you kind of get a hint at in the episode before this when Santa Claus is coming. I think is what it's called. Santa Claus is coming to town, and where Darius says, well, I didn't think racism was a thing over here for you guys. I thought it was more about classism over here.
Yeah.
And the guy says, well, it's capitalism. And you can't really, you can't really separate capitalism from racism because you need somebody to, if you're going to have somebody who's going to be high value, that means automatically you have to create someone has to be low value. Somebody got to be the nigga. And that's what they did. Capitalism makes niggers. It's like
Yeah.
it doesn't work without them. It's the oil that runs in that engine. And so when he points that out, then you got to decide, if you're gonna be involved, how much a nigga you want to be. And that's what it really came down to. So that conversation, yeah, was dope. And the way, like you said, the way that it plays out, that they don't just, it's just not two black guys talking about it or a black guy talking to a white guy about it. It's like, no, it's an Asian guy talking to a black guy about a situation that a black guy just had with an Asian woman that a white guy decided to ramp up. So yeah.
So wow.
It takes all those complexities, lays them right in front of you, and then still boils it down to what the real issue is.
Absolutely. So now we in the episode with Paperboy bringing back the hood out of him, because he's in this space, so you obviously see that he's trying to act different because he's around different money. He even kind of says that, hints towards that a little bit, because he's like talking to Earn, like, how do I even handle this? I want my money. He owe me. So, and he's like, I would never let this slide in the hood, so why would I let that slide here? So now he's like, oh, what am I going to do? How can I play this as classy as possible? Although, about to cut down this man's tree was not playing it classy. So he does all of that. And then they have to run out of the party. What was your thoughts on like this final scene? How did you feel about Paperboy's revenge?
Well, it started from Paperboy acting emotionally, trying to stunt like he had the money to lose, when realistically he did not have the money to lose, and tried to attack him in a way that he know will hurt him because of the love that he had for that tree, building a whole house around it. So he's like, you know what? You're gonna take my money, I'm gonna take something from you.
Yeah, that's facts. I didn't think of it that way, but thank you. I was just like, oh, he was not going to leave here without letting them know Atlanta was in the house. Like, he can't punk out on this. He cannot just let people walk all over him. And I just felt like it was just that kind of thing for him. It's like, I can't let nobody walk all over me, and no matter where I am. And I am who I am, and that's who I'm going to be, no matter what kind of money I have.
Yeah, I thought the interesting thing about it was, he cuts the tree, they make their exit, they, try to get out of there as quickly as possible before anything can happen, supposedly. They get into the vehicle, and then they take a moment, take a breath, and then they laugh about it. The thing that's interesting to me about it is that despite Paperboy's anger, despite his action, despite what he did to that tree, all of it was empty. It didn't, because it's the same. It was almost the same situation as Earn had the week before when he was at the show, and he explains to the guy, "Well, you're still going to get your money, but we're not going to do the show because it costs us something to do the show, but it costs you nothing to whether we do it or not. You still are going to be who you are, and you get what you get." And this billionaire, it's the same thing. Yeah, he likes the tree. He prizes the tree, but it's not like trees in and of themselves have a tremendous amount of value in them when you consider how many trees probably had to be torn down to build the rest of the place. And it's like, so
or make that money.
Yeah, it's just a thing. It's another thing for him to own.
Yeah.
And if he had came out right then and given Paperboy the money, the $40,000, it wouldn't have costed him anything. The same way it didn't cost him to steal from him. You see what I'm saying? So because that's what white supremacy looks like at that level. When you're that, powerful, is that this thing that is, that this thing that's so important to Earn means nothing to this guy at the end of the day. And so he goes away, he steals some chicken. And he takes a slice out of a tree. It's like,
which was again the blackest thing ever.
Yeah. Exactly. So I guess he gets some kind of emotional come up, so to speak. But at the end of the day, it didn't cost Fernando anything. It did, and it wouldn't. It's not something. It's not. It wouldn't even make the next story at the next poker game probably for him.
Yeah. That was crazy. So what did y'all like? What would y'all rate this episode out of 10?
Oh, I'd give this one I give this one a 10. I give this one a 10. And I would give it a 10 because I think it takes a lot, it takes some really great writing to drive an idea home three times with three different stories and not make it so on the nose that it makes you roll your eyes. You know what I mean? You're still
Mm-hmm.
caught up in the story and you don't want to let go of it. You're all the way in it, but yeah, to do that with three different stories in the same, same segment, the same show, the same episode, that's impressive.
Yeah. What about you, Dominic?
I'll probably give this one a 9 because it's damn near perfect. It, like Van said, it interlocks all the three different stories very well. But uh, this, I don't, I don't know. There's some story elements like with the whole like mainly with the story of Darius, how wild did they got and turned into angry mobs so quickly.
Mm.
I know they do the whole like surrealist type thing, but like that was like it was like 0 to 100 very quickly for me. So
Mhm.
that's the only reason why I dropped it down to a 9. But besides that, it was a great episode.
Oof, tough critic.
What
Hey,
about
I'm a
you, Jasper?
filmmaker. I gotta be.
I'm giving it a 10 too because I just thought it felt like we were in Atlanta again, towards the end. So I just thought that was just funny. It was like an ode to Atlanta at the same time. We're in a new city and we're different people and we're doing things different, but we not. We still doing the same shit. So that's how I felt. And I just thought it was really funny. I loved it. Okay, well, y'all, we will be back for sure to talk about episode 4. Do y'all know when season 4 is starting yet? Or we're just still waiting on an actual release date?
I haven't heard
I
an
think we're just
announcement yet.
waiting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either, but they definitely said this fall, right?
I hope.
it could be this fall. Who knows? It could get pushed too. So hopefully
I'll
it's this
be
fall
tight.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely. I thought they definitely said it was gonna come out in the fall. They wasn't gonna leave us hanging.
They already filmed it, didn't they? Have they already filmed it?
I
Yeah,
could
they
have
filmed it. They filmed
sworn.
like
Yeah.
season 3 and 4 back to back.
Okay, so that's a good sign then. That's a good sign.
Yeah, and do you know if we're in Atlanta or if we're still in Europe season 4? No one knows yet.
I have
I
no
don't
idea.
know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll definitely be back with episode 4. But before we get up out of here, I would love for y'all to just share your handles one more time so the people can know where they can find you
I'll just share the scenarioradioshow.com. If you go there, you can find everything else that we do. That's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It is the hub for everything that we do, including our playlists on that we have on Spotify. Where every one of our episodes has a playlist that corresponds with it, no matter what the subject is. So go to the scenarioradioshow.com and that'll take you to everything scenario.
at. And Dominic?
And you can just find me at Slevin Studio on everything: TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. I'm gonna be on there. So just search at Slevin Studio, SLEVIN Studio.
Yes. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And I hope y'all have an amazing day. All right. Peace.